The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here. Welcome back to the channel for part 2 of weekly purchases, and this is the news portion of weekly purchases. If you guys missed it, go back and check on the channel. As Friday night on Patreon, Saturday morning traditional YouTube, I did drop my weekly purchases video where I showed all my purchases of the week. Very heavy on wrestling this week. We talked about album of the week, we recapped the week, we talked about the new Patreon giveaways, things like that. So we did all that stuff, all that housekeeping stuff in part 1. Check that video out if you missed it. But part 2 is separated this week because Hasbro PulseCon, Friday, Saturday, a 2-day event. Tons of pre-orders, tons of toy news from Hasbro. Of course, we got other toy news this week as well. And I figured since, hey, we're doing PulseCon Friday, Saturday. I usually film weekly purchases Friday. I don't have the Saturday stuff, so I'm going to split it up. So I did all the reveals will be in this video, and then the purchases were in that video. So check that one out if you did miss it by any chance. But we're going to break it down right here. We're going to break down all the miscellaneous toy news that happened all week. Then we're going to recap day 1 of Hasbro PulseCon, then day 2 of Hasbro PulseCon. Of course, talking about the stuff I'm interested to. I'm not really talking about Power Rangers. I'm not going to talk about Nerf. I'm not going to talk about that kind of stuff. It's more the stuff that I'm into that I do on my channel here. So we're going to recap. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to give my thoughts, and away we're going to go. Let's start it off with some miscellaneous news, and that's where all the wrestling stuff is in the miscellaneous news right here. We'll start it off with how the week began, as we did talk about this last week in weekly purchases. Super 7 dangled that mystery carrot while they fully revealed, and they are up for pre-orders. Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, the Good Brothers, Talkin' Shop, Ultimate exclusives. Now, I don't know how well these are going to sell. I got to be honest. I will be picking these up, but as we do know, we already had a Series 1 of these two that didn't really set the world on fire. You can still get them at discount from retailers out there, so I don't know. Is this going to set the world on fire in part 2? I just don't think it's going to happen, and you guys sound off in the comments down below. If you picked up Series 1, are you going to grab Series 2? I just don't see that unless you're a huge Good Brothers fan. This is going to be an interesting one. These could be some very worthy Ultimates down the line. They could be worth a lot of money because maybe nobody will buy them. I'm not exactly sure, but I will pick these up. Like I said, I'll talk about them. We'll take a look at them on the channel. But definitely an interesting go-to-market strategy. I guess got to get the most out of your molds, got to get the most out of your personalities. That's what they're doing right here. I just don't know how well it's going to do, but sound off with your thoughts on that. Then we heard from Cella Toys this week. Cella coming in hot. They've been quiet. They haven't had a lot of announcements, haven't had a lot of things, but we did see some more renders. We knew these things were coming, but now we're seeing them more in full detail. Cella Toys showed us some great tag teams of the 80s, and they started off with a hot fire announcement, or a hot fire picture, I guess we'll call it, of Demolition. You guys know I love my face paint. I love my Road Warriors, Legion of Doom, Powers and Pain, Demolition 80s tag teams. That's my wheelhouse. I'm in all day for these guys. Demolition looks good. I'm not a big fan of Smash's face paint. I know what they're trying to do, trying to make something a little bit different, but I would have rather had a little bit more classic Smash paint. That is a deep cut face paint for Smash there. But they do look good. I love that they have their entrance gear. They look like Rob Halford on the Killing Machine tour back in the day. Just looking really good. So I'm all in on those Demolition. You guys know I would be. The other tag team, the Killer Bees, B. Brian Blair, Jumpin' Jim Brunzell, High Flyers before High Flyers were really a thing, some might say. But the Killer Bees is really cool with alternate heads, so you can do their masked heads and unmasked heads. I'm here for that as well. I will pick up the Killer Bees. I think that is a cool one. That's one that was a little after the Hasbros, or before the Hasbros, I should say, more LJN era, but it can smoke and mirrors its way into the Hasbro set, so I'm happy to have the Killer Bees. I think that is really cool. Then we got an announcement. We knew this figure was coming, and it's up for pre-order right now. Cella Toys Swoggle, old Hornswoggle, getting a retro figure. There was a little bit of back and forth between him and Zombie Sailor, as we know, as he was earmarked for a zombie, went away from that, ended up going to Cella. Now his Cella has come to fruition. Sounds like it's shipping in November. I just can't figure this figure out. That sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? But I can't figure this figure out because the height. Should it be smaller? Should it be taller? I don't think taller, but the proportions are just so weird on this one. I just can't put my finger on it how it looks so different. It looks weird, but they did show some comparison shots. They showed him next to Barbarian. They showed him from all the different angles, and it definitely looks like Swoggle. I don't know. There's some reason I'm not 100% in on this one. I'm still on the fence if I'm going to pick it up or not. I just don't know. But it's an interesting one. You guys tell me your thoughts. Sound off in the comments down below as well. We're going to talk a little bit rings here now. And first we'll do this one. Masked Republic, of course, the Boss Fight Studios, Legends of Lucha Libre line. They do have a basic ring that is up for pre-order. Usual suspect places you can pre-order this. One thing I wanted to call out on this that I thought was really cool was the under the ring storage. How no toy company has ever thought of this before, I don't know. I can't believe Hasbro back and they didn't think of this. That the bottom slides out like a drawer. Imagine having that back when you were a kid. You could store your Hasbros, your accessories, things like that. I think that is a genius move. I'm not sure I'm going to pick up this ring, but I really had to call that out because I thought that was a really cool idea. I'm surprised we haven't seen that from Mattel or Jazzwares in their version of basic rings eventually. Maybe we will. Who knows? But I thought that was really cool. Talking about rings here, how about the new ringside collectible and apparently Mattel Creations exclusive Ultimate Edition Raw ring with Ultimate Edition Kane figure. This really set the internet wrestling figure community abuzz on Friday afternoon, as this came out of left field, came out of nowhere. Steve Ozier from Mattel dangled a little carrot saying coming soon. My mind immediately said, oh, they're doing an accessory packs for the new generation ring. We've all just recently received our new generation rings. We reviewed them here on the channel, talked about them. We've talked about them ad nauseum. Everybody has them. A lot of people have them for sale, things like that. So I said, wow, that's a really smart idea. Let's get different ring posts. Let's get some of that stuff. You can mix and match change, like rings of old we've had from Wicked Cool Toys and Mattel and things. But then all of a sudden, it did go up for pre-order at a $139 price point on Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself 10%. You can at least get a deal over there. And of course, I am going to pick this one up. But there's some controversy to this one. I wanted to break it down, and I'm going to be honest with my honest thoughts here about this ring. It just seems way too soon with that new generation ring. I mean, some people still haven't even got theirs, I think. I think there's a few people still waiting for theirs. It's almost done shipping. But here we are, October 1st, and now that ring is finally fulfilled, and you're going to come back 2 months later and you're not making anybody buy anything, but you're throwing that ring out there 2 months later as we just got a new fancy big ring. And let's be honest, I don't care how much space you have. I got a lot of space for my action figures. Not everybody is blessed with as much space as I am. I understand that. But even me, how am I going to support another ring? I have a Wicked Cool ring. I have the Raw and SmackDown ring with Goldberg and Jinder Mahal from a few years ago. I got a couple of different basic rings from different places. I've of course got the new gen ring. I've got 2 AEW rings with possibly a third. I haven't pre-ordered the Sting one yet, but another one on the way. Where am I going to put all these rings? I'm not even counting the Hasbro rings and Jax rings and things like that either. There's only so many rings you can support. That's why I guess my mind immediately went to it's going to be ring post, ring skirts you can buy separately. I think that would have been the way to go. But now you're saying, hey, you just bought this expensive ring. You had to wait well over a year for it. Hey, guess what? Now you can get this Raw ring, and you can get it within 2 months or around Christmas. Like I think it comes maybe January ship date. I don't know. It's just a little bit of a struggle piece there for me because it really does. And I don't know what this ring is going to consist of. We'll see. We'll break it down, all that kind of stuff. But is it the exact same ring as the new gen with different skirts and things like that? If that is the case, it feels like we paid for the molds with the new gen rings so they could come out and do something like this. And it really takes a little bit of that shine off that new generation ring because there was a lot of people, I guarantee you, that bought that new generation ring that if they knew, oh, a Raw ring's coming 3 months later from Ringside as exclusive, they would have said, nope, not for me. I'm not going to support that. I'll just get that. So it's a little bit of there, smoke and mirrors, a little bit of almost, dare I say, tricking your fan base. I understand Mattel. We talk about it all the time. They are not a nonprofit. But I think you're going to do something like this a year from now is the time to do that. Not so soon. It just leaves a bad taste in a lot of collectors' mouths, turns a lot of collectors off of this. And then the unfortunate aspect of this one, too, is I know some people say, well, I'm not going to get it. I don't need it. But there's a lot of people that collect the Ultimate Editions. We know that line is on fire right now. We've seen so many Ultimate Editions. And what they're doing is throwing a Kane Ultimate Edition in this pack. Hey, that is great. That is an exclusive Kane. That is something that's really cool. Hey, everybody loves a masked figure. They love face paint. We know that. But it makes it bad for collectors because we know there's a lot of Ultimate collectors, myself included, that are part of the Double Up Club. We have 1 to open, 1 on display. Now I have to buy 2 of those rings. I got to spend basically $300 on these rings, and I don't really even want another ring. I just not want these Canes. That leaves a bad taste in people's mouth. So I think if I'm Mattel, if I put my business hat on, if I was in their strategy meeting, I would have said, hey, we got to come out with this Raw ring. And honestly, I think they should come out with one of these rings every single year. Have the Raw ring, have a SmackDown ring, have a current ring every single year and around Christmas time. I think October is the perfect time for this. Of course, kids getting collectibles for Christmas from Santa, things like that. Every year they should release something like that. And even this year, it's weird. You're putting that Raw ring out, but it's coming in January. Why wouldn't you have that for Christmas? So just the math doesn't add up here. I think it is a bit of a blunder on Mattel's part. I think you wait a year from now, you put that Raw ring out, everybody's celebrating, everybody's happy, everybody's picking it up. But coming on the heels of that new gen ring that really divided a collector fan base for a while, and then we all rallied together. We know the whole story there. Very, very interesting thing. Very interesting how the market strategy here is for Mattel, and I'd love to hear the breakdown of the thought process behind all this. And I get it. Like I said, it is not a non-profit. They're here to make money, but I think they could have made more a year from now and come out with something else, something a little different around the holidays here in place of that ring. That's what I would have done. The other big thing about this is we see the cane packaging and we see plastic-free packaging. Now, we've talked about that ad nauseum on the channel. We know plastic-free packaging is coming. Is this the first toe in the water here? It looked like that Cody Rhodes, the Mattel Creations exclusive, that looked plastic-free as well. I believe Steve Ozier did come on message board say, hey, it's just for this pack because it's going to be in a box, all that kind of stuff. But I think that's the dangling. I think that's the start of it. And then at that point, I'm a double-up collector. Do I need to be a double-up collector anymore if it is plastic-free packaging? So it's something to look forward to, or really keep our eye on, more like it, into 2023. If we start seeing Ultimates, we start seeing some of these Elites go plastic-free, the day's coming. I know it will be coming, but that also turns a lot of people off with this pack here. So very controversial announcement on Friday that I really wasn't expecting to end the week. Hopefully we broke it down okay. I will be picking these up. I'll pick up one for sure. I need another cane though, so I guess I'll probably have to pick one. Maybe I'll find somebody who just wants the ring and not the cane. I'll figure it out, I'm sure. But I definitely am going to need two of these sets, it looks like, at this point. So an interesting go-to-market strategy there from Mattel. So now, breaking things down, Zombie Sailor this week announced Ric Flair coming to his retro figure line. It sounds like the end of next summer. Supposedly we'll have Ric Flair in our hands. I know we've got about 15 months. We pre-ordered the Jeff Jarrett figure ago. So hopefully we get some of that from Zombie fairly soon. This week, Zombie Sailor will have the Sabu New York Comic-Con exclusive going up for pre-order on his website. I guess not pre-order. They're going to ship right out. So check out Zombie Sailor, I think Tuesday. I want to say it was Tuesday that is going up for sale on the zombiesailor.com website if you're looking for that Sabu. I definitely am. I love some ECW. I'll pick up some Sabu. So there we go. So there's some of the wrestling news this week. I'm looking here if there's any more wrestling news, and that looks to be it for the wrestling headspace there. We did see a little Masters Universe announcement. Not a whole lot going on over there, but we did see in-package images of the Road Ripper, Mechaneck, two iconic packs to young Kyle when I was a little kid. I had both of those. I loved both of those, so I'm excited to get the Road Ripper and Mechaneck. That's got to be coming fairly soon. I do have, Zor and Tila. Those should be here any day. I shipped from my pile of loot from Big Bad Toy Store like 2 weeks ago. No sign. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there, but hopefully we'll have those on the channel here in the next couple of weeks. Master Universe, Road Ripper, Mechaneck coming soon. Mechaneck, one of the most requested, at least for me, Masters Universe Origins figures, so I'm excited for that one. How about Spawn this week? Spawn coming with some new Spawn figures, and I'm a kid of the 90s, so I've debuted with Spawn #1. I collected the toy line. I loved all that kind of stuff. But the announcement of figures here was a little deep cut even for old Kyle, as I don't follow Spawn Universe right now, so maybe that's part of it here. But we're getting an Omega Spawn figure, which is another gigantic figure, a big giant Spawn. Very cool looking, past my time. I'm not sure where he debuted in the comic books, things like that, but we do have him coming. Same thing, Nightmare Spawn. I guess something of your Spawn nightmares is what he's going to be. Once again, I do not remember him at all. Plague Spawn, very like ashy, like just burned up. A very, very cool looking figure. Once again, I don't know Plague Spawn. So we have that. Then King Spider. Don't know King Spider, but very cool. I love the mask or face paint, whatever it is, with the spider look. A very cool looking figure, of course, all in white. Awesome looking Spawn figure. But the one pack I do know, bringing it back to the old days, is the Sam and Twitch 2-pack. And that's a really cool one. I'm going to have to alert my dad to that because he always loved himself some Sam and Twitch. I think he still has the OG ones on display. I use mine as part of my wrestling arena. I have them in the audience, my Sam and Twitch. But I'm going to get that one for nostalgia's sake. I remember that being a very hot figure back in the day, a 2-pack, of course, like it is now. Very, very hard to get back in the day. Very hard to find Spawn figure. There was a lot of people were really looking for that one. I'm sure you can get it dirt cheap right now. But it'll be interesting, this wave of Spawn figures. I don't know how well they're going to sell, and I really do wish they'd throw it back to more 90s characters that we know. Where's Tremor? When can we get a Tremor? Well, some of those guys, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll see how this sells. The one thing we've learned over the last couple of years, McFarlane Toys, is if you're patient, if you can play that long game, man, there are deals to be had on everything. You can get these guys all very cheap, and I may actually play the long game on a few of these. We'll see. Once you see it in the store, you're like, but I might try to play the long game on some of these because I'm just not as familiar with the characters. But we'll see what happens. With this inflation time, there's some hard decisions that need to be made in all of our collections, and that's one where I say, well, if I just wait a little bit longer, wait a couple more months, maybe I'll get a deal. But Sam and Twitch, that's a day one buy for me. I'll pick that one up right away. So very interesting there. We also saw NECA coming in this week. Mirage. The Mirage comics, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We are getting a Walmart exclusive that I think is going to be a part of their Walmart Collector Con. It is an all-white Shredder. So it's a good exclusive for a store because some people say that's not classic Shredder. I don't need it. So that does work out pretty good. But that is coming to Walmart very soon. So you Turtle fans, jump in on that one. And then we also heard from some Turtle stuff for New York Comic Con. We talked about Zombie Sailor. Well, Super 7 is going to be there with all kinds of different exclusives. A lot of retro stuff. An Aurora Monster kit, like a glow-in-the-dark type kit of the creature from the Black Lagoon. I thought that was really cool that they got access to that original mold. I got to talk to my dad about that, see if he wants to get one of those. But they did announce Muckman from the Super 7 Ultimates Turtle line, a glow-in-the-dark version of Muckman. It feels like I've been there before. I feel like I got some Iron Maiden deja vu. Of course, I am seeing Iron Maiden in concert in 2 days, so if you're in South Dakota, check me out. I'll be there on the floor probably somewhere, hanging out, banging my head to Eddie and the boys. It should be a good one there. But very interesting Muckman glow-in-the-dark. They're all in on this. Getting the most out of your molds with this glow-in-the-dark stuff. We saw the Turtles. We saw the Foot Soldiers. Baxter Stockman, of course. Now we got Muckman. I got to think they're going to make everybody glow-in-the-dark, and you'll have a whole glow-in-the-dark collection. Who needs a light? You just got a glow-in-the-dark set over there. That's your night light. So that I found to be very interesting this week, coming at New York Comic Con. Once again, that is a good Comic Con exclusive. Not for everybody. If you miss out, it's not going to end your life, I think. But I do think that will be up on Super 7's website. I'm sure Entertainment Earth will have it. Once that goes in stock, of course, use discount code Kyle. You'll save yourself 10% Entertainment Earth, and you can get it to ship free. So you got to get a deal all day long. I will pick up that Muckman. I don't know what I'm doing, though. I have all those Super 7 Ultimate Turtles. I just haven't got to unboxing any of those. One of these days, I'm going to spend like a 2-day, and I'm just going to unbox every single one. Maybe we'll throw them up on Patreon. But I don't know. But I should have the next 2 series very soon. Those are starting to ship out. So Super 7 Ultimate Turtle Overload. I just got to figure out what I'm doing. Because as of right now, I guess I'm a mint-on-card collector for those guys. So much more to come. So there's the miscellaneous news of the week. Everything I had there. Not a huge news week outside of Hasbro. Hasbro is where business really picked up. And let's kick it off. Let's take a look at what we saw at Hasbro PulseCon Day 1. All right, Hasbro PulseCon was Friday. Of course, Friday was the first day, and we got Saturday. Saturday's got the G.I. Joe. It's got the Star Wars. That's what I'm amped up for. Friday, though, for me was all about the Marvel Legends and a little bit of Transformers. You guys know I dabble in the Transformers. In Transformers, there wasn't a whole lot there for me. I was hoping to see some more Dinobots, hoping to see some more classic G1 guys. There really wasn't a lot for me in there, but they did have, of course, the PulseCon exclusive Alpha Trion, Orion Pax. Of course, remember Orion Pax as Optimus Prime before he was Optimus Prime. I had to pull the trigger and order that set. That's really all I got from Transformers. That was the only thing of note that interested me, so outside of that, there was nothing going on. We did see a little bit of a pre-show. They did have some guy from YouTube that does Transformers, and I'm not into the Transformers YouTube world. I collect Transformers. I just don't watch videos and things like that, so I don't know the guy there. But he was there, but he did dangle a few carrots, and he did give us a little G.I. Joe classified news, give us a sneak peek of what's to come in 2023, and he did announce one of my least favorite Joes to one of my favorite Joes. It was quite the yin and yang. Tripwire is coming. Tripwire never did anything for me. I had his original Joe back in the day. He was one of the first guys to always die in my playing days. Him and Psych Out and Sneak Peek. Those guys were always fodder. The first shots were always fired and they were always down. So we're getting Tripwire in the Classified Series. I guess that's okay, but I would have preferred Tripwire in his Tiger Force gear. Yes, his Tiger Force gear, but we are getting Tripwire. But then the one I'm excited about is one of my all-time favorite Joes, General Hawk. Always loved General Hawk. Very cool one. It'll be interesting. I got to think we'll get the classic version of General Hawk, but I always loved the one that had like the wings that flew with the glider and stuff. I think that came out in like 1991, something like that. That was always a really cool General Hawk figure as well, but I got to think we'll get the OG classic one with kind of the bomber jacket, the hat with the goggles. That's the General Hawk we need, at least at first. So very, very excited for some more Joes. We'll have some more Joe announcements, of course, when we cover day 2. But let's talk Marvel Legends. That was the thing. That was the thing we wanted to talk about on day 1, and that was the one I think the most highly anticipated. Of course, there was Power Rangers, things like that, but nothing for me to see over there either. But the Marvel Legends team started off hot, and then, of course, power went out, so that was a little frustrating, I'm sure, for the Hasbro team. But we did get some announcements. We did get some pre-orders. We did have some stuff go up, so let's break it down here first. Now, the first thing, or one of the first things we saw was the PulseCon exclusive up on Hasbro Pulse for pre-order. It is the Iron Man, and it is old school Iron Man. Old school being 1990s, early 1990s, from the old Marvel Action Hour days in the old Toy Biz Iron Man line. Of course, we do have a War Machine. Should ship to my house any day here. But now we're getting Iron Man. A very, very cool looking one. We even get Iron Man with his normal Tony Stark head, looking like a young Eddie Guerrero. I thought that looked really good. But it's like the Marvel versus Capcom versus the old school Toy Biz packaging. But he's got that big, big gun as a separate pack-in thing from the video game. But I love the packaging. I love on this. It's just that 90s nostalgia. And I've said it before with Fantastic Four, Iron Man, and even some of the Spider-Man and X-Men. That's how I got to figure out about these characters. That's where I went to learn more. And Iron Man especially. Iron Man was not a big thing in the early 90s. It just was not. He is a lot more popular now than he was on the old playground when I was a kid. So that's how I got really introduced to Iron Man and his bad guy, his rogue gallery, if you will, from the toy line back in the day and the cartoon. So I'm excited. I pre-ordered that right away. Speaking of pre-order, another pack we had up there was a 3-pack of Daredevil, Elektra, and Bullseye. Now, characters we've had many times over the years, but now they're updated. You know, the new paint apps, new articulation, all that kind of fun stuff is there. Very happy to get this Daredevil, classic red suit Daredevil, which a lot of people have been looking for, a lot of things. And that's kind of the name of this panel here, was a lot of old figures getting a new, fresh painted coat, as Bruce Pritchard would say, and put back out to the masses, some updates and things, where I could see some longtime fans saying, oh, what are we doing? I already have these. Much like the WWE fans with the greatest hits line. I think we're seeing a lot of that. But you guys can't just have to make the same things over and over. You got to bring some of the popular ones. That there's new collectors, there's new people, and we always talk it. Hasbro, Mattel, whatever. They want the money from you. They don't want other people getting third-party eBay. If there's money to be made, they're going to re-release these guys. We just got to remember that at the end of the day. So we are getting that, and apparently that Daredevil is on that fabulous Spider-Man Spinneret 2-pack. If you guys have that one, or check out my review on the channel. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, Spider-Man figure of all time, as far as Marvel Legends go, that is. So that is coming, a 3-pack. It is up there. It is a pricey pack. A little bit of paint differences. Bullseye is exciting. Elektra, of course, in white. What is old is new again, but for those that want it, it is up there on Hasbro Pulse. Then we got a little bit of a look to the future of some here. We don't know where they're coming out, when they're coming out, but we wanted to show you some of these. And we saw Molten Man, a deep cut, a little bit of a deeper cut. I believe he was in Secret Wars is where I remember him from as a little kid. We got Molten Man, so another villain coming. Moonstone, who was part of that San Diego Comic-Con exclusive pack back in the day that I do not have, so I'm okay with a Moonstone figure here. One that's making a lot of people happy and some people mad, Strife. Of course, Strife from X-Force. That's Kyle's prime time in the X-Force brand. I love the Strife figure I had as a kid. Of course, I do have the TRU Marvel Legends Strife. That was a store exclusive 10 years ago. I don't know what time is anymore, but very, very hard to get, very requested by a lot of people, so I can see them bringing Strife back. Rumors are he's going to be part of like a 5-pack, maybe Amazon exclusive 5-pack, something like that. So we'll have to stay tuned for more info on that. But Strife coming to the lane, that's going to be a good one. We saw from the MCU, we saw some Gamora figures. We've had Gamora before, but this is a newer one. And they didn't show a lot of MCU stuff today. I was a little surprised. There's more comic-based, which I'm okay with. I prefer the comic-based over the MCU. And then we saw a very cool one, very much in the vein of Frogman is Orb, a Ghost Rider villain, apparently from the 90s. I don't remember this guy at all. Maybe it was 2000s. That's probably why I don't remember him. But a big eyeball on an Evel Knievel style body. Sign me up. You guys know I'm all about that. One of my biggest regrets this year was I was in Topeka for 2 days of meetings. I did not get to go to that Evel Knievel museum. I love Evel Knievel. I love all that kind of stuff. I would have loved to have gone there. So hopefully one of these days I'll get back and I can hit up the old Evel Knievel museum. But that was kind of some peeks under the tent. And then they continue with some peek under the tent into the X-Men line as we're finally getting the blue and yellow traditional X-Men uniform. I don't know about traditional, but you know what I mean. The uniform X-Men outfit. Now, I remember back in the day in the old Toy Biz line, I had a lot of those guys, and you kind of make a team. They are going to build that team for us. So we did see Storm. We did finally see Banshee. It's about time we get a new Banshee. That's way overdue in their X-Men suits. So that is very cool. Very excited to see those guys here in the future. And we're going to talk a little bit more X-Men suits later on here in this very video. We also saw with Johnny Gargano, they ran out of time for him, so they put him as a separate YouTube video. But the Hasbro team talked to Johnny about his Marvel Legends collection and things like that. But he did get to debut an action figure, a Walmart exclusive, I believe going up for pre-order next week. It is Star-Lord. It's the old school comic version of Star-Lord, not the MCU version. So this isn't going to be for everybody, but it's cool to get some of these deep cut, older characters and older looks like this. And it will be a Walmart exclusive. And I can just see the buyer saying, oh, you're giving me a Star-Lord figure? Okay, I'll take that as an exclusive. But then the Hasbro team, that guy probably had no idea. This is Star-Lord? I don't remember this Star-Lord. This doesn't look like the movie. But that's kind of how those things do go. But if you're into Star-Lord, it sounds like next week Walmart's going to be your place. We also saw the next version of the animated series figures. X-Men, we are getting Cyclops. We knew that was coming eventually. He is up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse as well. I got to think that's still a shared exclusive at the Disney store, so it'll probably go up for sale there as well. But some people complaining about the cell shading on these. I get it, but this is a classic Cyclops that a lot of people missed out back in the day. You're getting another chance at this. That shading probably just turns a few people off. So that is understandable. I understand that. But then they said, hey, the X-Men animated series wave is taking a break. It's not over for now. It will come back. And that is, I think, Hasbro putting their business hat on. Say, you know, we've had Rogue, we've had Gambit, we've had some of those guys just fairly recently. We got to spread it out. We got to wait a little bit. We'll wait like a year, and then we'll come back. Because we just had those guys, Gambit and Rogue, within the last year. Now you wait another year, you could put them back out there. It's them just playing their chess game, so I understand that. But now they said, hey, we're doing the Spider-Man animated series in the same VHS style packaging. And I'm just like, I love it, but I hate it at the same time because I have enough Venoms. I have enough Carnages. We got how many Spider-Mans? How different are these going to really be besides cell shading? I love the idea of putting these on a bookshelf, displaying them in front of their VHS-style packaging. It looks awesome. Maybe you get a bookshelf for the X-Men and the Spider-Man. Who's to say 5 years from now it's the Iron Man throwback packaging? It's the Fantastic Four. It's the Hulk. They might do all that kind of stuff too, but they did announce Spider-Man, or not Spider-Man, Carnage and Venom 2-pack. It's going to be the first one. Pre-order to come, so stay tuned for that. But it's going to be a little 2-pack action. I don't know. I love the Spider-Man animated series just like I love the X-Men one. I'm guessing I'm going to break down and buy these, but gosh, I hope there's enough meat on the bone and enough difference for these to make it really feel worth our while. But I'm just a sucker for that time period. But we'll see. But very cool if you're into the animated series. And where does it end? Like I said, will we get Fantastic Four? Will we get Hulk? Will we get Iron Man? Will we get all these 90s ones? I guess we'll see what happens there. But then a very exciting announcement with a little controversy and another business hat bad decision here by Hasbro, if you ask me. But we did see retro carded X-Men Wave. Very happy to see that. Love the retro carding figures. And we're getting Dark Phoenix. One figure I'm missing in my collection I know some hardcore fans from back in the day do have this one, and they're probably upset because the pricing on that one probably just dropped. But we just talked about it. It is a business, not a nonprofit. So we got Dark Phoenix coming to the table. Very excited for that one. One of my most requested, most wanted figures. I just did a top 20 most wanted figures on the channel about a month ago for our 20,000 subscriber special, and I talked about Avalanche. So we got Avalanche finally coming to the X-Men set. Very interesting. He doesn't come with that rock base. Whenever I think Avalanche, I always think of that rock base he used to have in the old Toy Biz figure. So it feels weird to me to see him without that for whatever reason. So we do have that coming. Here's a weird one. We got Multiple Man, and Multiple Man apparently from the Fantastic Four back in the day. When I think Multiple Man, I think him in the classic X-Factor gear, the trench coat like a young Gambit. Of course, we got that figure back in the day. Now we're getting it here once again, but it is totally different. It's a different version of Multiple Man. I don't know on this one. I don't know if it's going to sell so well. The thing about it is, it shouldn't be that hard to find, I don't think, here. So sometimes army builders are a challenge. I don't think this one will be a challenge like some of the other army builders. I don't know if anybody wants to build this version of Multiple Man. I could be wrong. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But I'll probably pick up at least 2 of these. That's where I'm saying right now. But if there's a deep clearance, you never know what might happen. I might pick up some more of that one. And then we did talk about the blue suit Wolverine, or the blue suit X-Men team. Wolverine is entering the arena in that. That's going to be our first one there. I'm all in on that. Wolverine, my favorite. Always loved the Toy Biz version of this back in the day. Happy to have this one here. And when I say Toy Biz, I'm talking early 90s Toy Biz. I'm not talking about the later day Toy Biz or middle era Toy Biz. So very cool to get that Wolverine. And then we are getting, once again, what is old is new again, Spiral. Now, I do have that Spiral Toy Biz version, just like the Mojo I have as well, or I had. I just sold it fairly recently. I got out ahead of the curve on that one. But Spiral is coming, which makes sense because we also have Longshot in this set. So this is an interesting one. This is where the business decision went off the rails to me. This was a mistake by Hasbro. So the other day, and then officially it is up for pre-order as of Saturday. They've officially announced it through the Hasbro Twitter channels, things like that. But there is a standalone Mojo figure. Now we have a standalone Longshot figure. You're really making people cancel your pre-order that's supposed to come in November, December of the Mojo World box set. That's coming with Mojo, very similar. Coming with Longshot, very similar. And then it comes with Dazzler. So far Dazzler hasn't been announced, but I think she was the least popular of that bunch. Yes, it does come in a fancy packaging, all that kind of stuff, but if you're an opener, does that matter to you? I'm still contemplating, do I cancel that set, just get this Longshot, get this Mojo, and call it good, or do I stay the course, just buy that set? I'm leaning towards buying the set, but I think that's just a bad move for Hasbro and their sales. They would rather have people buying the more expensive set, I would have to imagine, but now you're going to have people trading down, and whenever you trade your consumers down, that's not a good day at the office. If I was them, if I was Hasbro, if I was there, I'd say let's have that set come out. Let's release Longshot, let's release Mojo a year from now. Much like the new generation ring, the raw ring we talked about earlier in this episode, it just doesn't make business sense to me. I don't know why you're confusing your customers, possibly angering your customers. That's never a good thing. So I don't know what's going on with that thing. It's very interesting, but I think a lot of people canceling their Hasbro Pulse orders, they're going to the cheaper options. Can't say I blame you. You got to get a deal. So very interesting with all that. We did also see the HasLab Mephisto. They showed that in a little bit more glory. Of course, we know Robbie Reyes. He's coming if we hit 9,000. That's what it needs to be fulfilled. I do think it will be fulfilled. I just don't know if it's going to get over the hump. I just don't see us getting Mephisto. They hinted at the Goblin Queen. I don't think we'll get there either. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I think it'll be very close, and then I think all the overseas stuff and all the other Entertainment Earths of the world, or whoever wants to buy these up, big bad toy stores maybe, that might push them over the hump. I don't think we'll see this one fail, but we'll see. Stranger things have happened. The Rancor should have never failed. That was another blunder on Hasbro's part. If they waited a couple more months after that Mandalorian episode, Rancor would have fulfilled immediately. They just messed up, so I don't know what's going on in the Mattel sometimes, Hasbro, Super 7, some of these guys, war rooms, they just need to take the temperature of the room sometimes and look at all the angles, and I don't know how that gets missed from time to time, but that's just the way it goes in business. I've been there myself, so we know how that goes. The final thing that was talked about a little bit throughout the day was, of course, the Selfie Series. We know that is up. You have to download the Hasbro Pulse app. You could do it right there. You can see what your face will look like. It's cool to play around with, cool enough to do. Check that out. Now, it's $60 for a limited time, then it is going up to $80. I did it, and I was not happy with the way I look. I said, I don't look very good. I look ugly. I don't know what's going on, but I didn't pull the trigger. I didn't do it. To me, it just wasn't worth $60. And like I said, I got this head sculpt from Murder Juice Customs. Check him out on Instagram. He can probably make you your own head sculpt if you want to. I love this one way more than the Selfie Series one. And I like the bodies. You get a Stormtrooper, Power Ranger, Jedi, that kind of thing. But I would have liked to seen a Flint body or something different. I don't know. I guess you could always buy an extra Flint, pop the head off, pop it, move it back and forth. But they really do struggle, I think, with the long hair department and the beard department. If you got that as part of your look, I just don't know if the Selfie Series is going to work out very well in your favor. It's just a little off to me. So that's why I passed on the Selfie Series. I think they could work out some bugs. Maybe in the future they'll get some of that stuff fixed. But for me, it was an easy pass. I'm not going to do it. But if you did, let me know in the comments down below, and I'd be interested to see who are you going to be. A Power Ranger? Star Wars? What are you going to do? Let me know in the comments down below. So that's it. That was the news of day one that interested me. Now we got to turn our attention over to day number 2. All right, we'll kick off day 2 of the Hasbro PulseCon reveals, and today they were really speaking my language. Of course, it was G.I. Joe Day as far as reveals go. You guys know I love me some G.I. Joe. So we got some G.I. Joe, a little Indiana Jones, a little Star Wars to talk about. And we also got some weekly purchases straight off the truck from the mailman, just dropped off. So it didn't make yesterday's weekly purchases, but we'll have a little bit of weekly purchases here in this very video. So without further ado, let's kick it off. Let's talk G.I. Joe and let's go through the panel. Of course, it was the usual crew there we usually get. So it was an interesting panel for sure. They had a Sergeant Slaughter interview, a Larry Hama interview. I did check both of those out off of YouTube as well. They weren't part of the main thing, but separate videos. Always good to hear the Sarge talk about his favorite iconic G.I. Joe guys. Nobody asked the hard-hitting questions, though. Emily, you should have asked him, what is a Nemesis Enforcer, Sergeant Slaughter? Because he listed Globulus, he listed Cobra Commander, he didn't bring up Nemesis Enforcer. So the hunt continues. Can't wait till I see the Sarge next time. We'll have that little discussion when the time comes. But we did start it off with some reveals. They did reveal some future characters for 2023, as we talked about earlier in this video. General Hawk, Tripwire are coming. But they also said the Snow Serpents, a little bit of a deeper cut. Maybe not super deep, but Snow Serpents are coming. We are getting Buzzer from the Dreadnoks. We got to build that Dreadnoks team. That's what I'm excited about. And then there's going to be an army builder, a female Cobra Trooper. I really did expect that to come. We saw the female Hiss tank mechanic, whatever the name was for that. I got to think the Trooper was coming, and here we are. That will be coming sometime in 2023. So then they switched over to renders. So stuff that was previously pipeline reveals are now renders, and they showed some heavy hitters. They showed Rock and Roll and OG Joe from back in the day. I always preferred second version of Rock and Roll myself, and that looks like we're getting more of a cross between number 2 and number 1 Rock and Roll. Very cool with all the tattoo work on him, like a young gung-ho, but sleeves going on this time. He's also coming with the Ronnie James Dio horn hands. I'm all in on that one, so that should be pretty cool. So Rock and Roll coming to the line next year. We're also getting the classic Bazooka. We knew all about that. We are getting Tiger Force Bazooka, so it's not shocker. We're getting traditional Bazooka. Got to get the most out of your molds. That's what this Joe team loves to do. They're like a young Star Wars team, really, at the end of the day. But we are getting classic Bazooka, looking like a young Don the Predator Fry, of course. I'm all in on Bazooka. Where's Alpine? Get me Alpine. We need Bazooka and Alpine together. And then we're going off to some other ones. We're getting Torpedo, one of the classic Joes, but one I never really had an affinity for. For whatever reason, I was always more of a Deep Six guy and a wetsuit guy. Torpedo kind of on the outs with me. Maybe that was just me. Maybe it was you as well. But wetsuit was probably my favorite underwater specialist from the G.I. Joe days. Him and Leatherneck. Need Leatherneck in the line as well. But we're getting Torpedo, and then we're getting Shipwreck, one of my all-time favorite Joes, one of the ones I've been wanting the most. Happy to see Paulie with him, happy to see him in his sailor outfit. He's got his jeans on. A lot to like about this Shipwreck. I think that's going to be a very popular one in 2023. And the final one we got announced here was a bad guy, and it was Copperhead. We knew this Copperhead was coming, but he looks a little deranged behind the eyes. Love Copperhead. Loved Copperhead and the water moccasin as a kid. I still remember to this day, I was with my grandma up in Sheldon, Iowa, for you guys keeping track at home. A very small town in northwest Iowa. That's where my grandparents lived, and I would go there for a couple of weeks every single summer. And I remember going to Ben Franklin's and picking up Copperhead in the water moccasin back in the day. So just Copperhead here. Can't wait to get that one. Then they talked a little Hiss tank update. They talked about the Hiss gunner. They showed the pole coming soon. We're going to be able to choose the colors part of the tank, but the tank rolling on, no pun intended. Can't wait to get the Hiss tank sometime in 2023, probably a year from right now, I would imagine. And then they talked about pre-orders that went up today, things we knew that were coming, but they were finally up for pre-order. Got to get the most out of your molds. Once again, we got Barbecue from the Slaughter Marauders. Love the Slaughter Marauders sub-team line. I remember buying that set from a buddy of mine. He was getting out of Joe's and sold me like each figure for like 50 cents or something like that. And I remember getting the Slaughter Marauders that way back in the day. Barbecue, very cool, but it's a lot of what we saw before, just with a new coat of paint on him. But we got that coming. Same thing with the Crimson Bat, same as the old Bat, but in crimson colors. A little reimagining for the classified line, as that wasn't an actual thing back in the old Joe days, of course. But another army builder. Not sure how many of these I'm going to need. We'll see. Get a couple at first, then play the long game. Get a few more on clearance. Find a hot Amazon sale like we saw $14.99 on the previous bats. Hopefully that does come to fruition. We also saw Covergirl, another female Joe in the line. This Covergirl looks really good. She does not come with the Wolverine like back in the day, much like Copperhead doesn't come with his vehicle. But Covergirl was always kind of one outside of Lady J and Scarlet. Covergirl was always like kind of that third one, the third wheel of the females, but we are getting her in the classified line. And then, of course, Falcon, going back to the G.I. Joe movie, one of the greatest movies, if not the greatest movie of all time. What is a Nemesis Enforcer? We got Falcon coming to the line. I'm excited. Anytime we get a green beret, I always had him and Flint partnering up in my old Joe Fed days back when I was a kid. Falcon of one, I'm really excited to get here in the line. And then finally, much like Barbecue, much like a few of the others guys, we're getting Outback in the Tiger Force. Now we're getting a traditional Outback. And I've had a lot of dogs over my lifespan. You guys know I'm a dog collector as well. And I've only had one toy in my entire life, whatever you want to call it, chewed up by a toy, and it was the original Outback. He got chewed in the chest by my old lab back when I was a kid. So it's always, whenever I think of Outback, I always think of that, the horror of him getting chewed on, which later turned into a gruesome injury on the Joe battlefield when I was a kid. So some good stuff coming this way. I'm excited about the Joe stuff. 2023 could truly be the year of G.I. Joe. We'll see what happens. They just need to get more consistent with the figure releases. It seems like we get some figures, then it's like 6 months, you get a figure or two, then it's a long wait. We're still waiting on Target orders. You guys know how that goes. So will we get all these Joes? Hopefully sooner rather than later. Hopefully they get their stuff figured out for 2023. We know we got more guys in the lines. Should have some more excitement. Should have some more consistent sets. Here's 5 guys, 6 guys. Here's 2-month break. Here's 6 guys. Here's 2-month break. Here's 6 guys. Something like that. I'm hoping that's the case in 2023. Then we saw some Indiana Jones, and I gotta be honest with you guys, I know what Indiana Jones is. I've seen him, I know who it is, but have I ever seen him the movies straight through? I don't think I ever have. I've seen clips of things, I've seen him running from a big ball that's chasing after him, but for whatever reason, and like a lot of movies of the 80s, while you guys were watching movies, Kyle was playing with his toys, or he was listening to music. He was listening to album after album of every single artist. 11,000 plus albums I've listened to in my life. That's what I was doing. You guys were watching movies. I was listening to CDs. That's just the way it went. CDs, tapes, cassette tapes back then. But that's what I was doing. So I didn't watch a lot of movies. I still really don't have time for movies. I like a good half-hour show, a good 40 minutes tops. I like to get in and out, but movies always seem like such a project. That's what it seems like to me. I don't know. I'm weird. I get it. But I've never seen Indiana Jones all the way through. But we did see some figures here. I don't know. I'm almost thinking I would buy one Indiana Jones because I think it would be funny to have him with my G.I. Joe classified figures. I don't know, but these felt very Star Wars-esque, and we had the Star Wars brand team basically do both panels, so I think they're going to have a lot of Star Wars into these Indiana Jones figures. I think we're going to see that. But it sounds like Indiana Jones going up for pre-order right now. Besides that, I don't know. What was the other guy's name? His name was Major Arnold Taut. Hopefully I said that right. I don't want to offend the guy. But I don't know what he is, but man, he's like melting face. I'm all in on something like that. So I don't know what happened to that guy. I'm sure it's in the movie. I would imagine it's in the movie. But a lot of Indiana Jones fans, there's a lot of people that loved Indiana Jones. So very cool to get a toy line here. Will this set the world on fire? Will this go very well? Will the retro figures they announced here today go well? I don't know. I don't know if there is the love for Indiana Jones that crosses over into action figures like the G.I. Joe brand, the Star Wars brand, but who knows? Indiana Jones might surprise me. Or he might not surprise me and go on deep clearance eventually, playing a little of that long game. But I think I will eventually pick up Indiana Jones just for the heck of it. I think it would be funny to display him with my G.I. Joes. But that's for me. But I'm not going to cover a lot of Indiana Jones stuff on the channel, I don't think. But then we did get into Star Wars after that. And Star Wars, I got such a love-hate with Star Wars, as you guys know. It's like they can't figure it out. They can't give us the hardcore fans or the fans that grew up with the movie some of the deeper cuts. We just kind of always get the same old, same old. And now I feel like a lot of the chances for some of the deeper cuts that a lot of us want has been brushed to the side for the Andor series, the Bad Batch, the Book of Boba Fett, and so on. And we saw a lot more of that today. So they talked a lot of Andor series. Now, I gotta admit, I haven't watched Andor yet. So this was all Greek to me because I didn't know these characters outside of Cassian Andor. I will watch the series. I still gotta watch Moon Knight as well. Miss Marvel, I'm just behind. I just don't have enough hours in my day. But I'll get it done. I will get it done one of these days, hopefully soon. But the Andor exclusive, of course, did go up on Hasbro Pulse for pre-order. It is the 2-pack. I'm passing on that thing. I was like, you know what? There doesn't seem enough there for me. Maybe it's because I haven't watched the show yet. If I watch the show, maybe I'll fall in love with them. I'll fall in love with Cassian Andor and his droid. But to me, as of watching this, I said, I'm going to pass. And then I was really happy I said I was going to pass about 5 minutes later when they said, we're releasing that same Cassian Andor figure in the Solo Black Series. So I said, why am I going to spend like $70 on this with a little droid when I can just get the normal one, probably for $20 on sale or clearance eventually? So that's what I'm going to do if I do the Cassian Andor line at all. We'll see how much I like the show before I make my decision. But we're getting that same as the exclusive. I mean, once again, put the business hat on, make everybody buy that, and then 6 months later, come out with the regular one. I don't know, that's just me. But we are doing that. We're also getting a Bix character. Once again, I don't know these characters, you know. So we're getting her. We're getting Luthien. Hopefully I'm saying that name right. And then we're getting Mon Mothma, a classic Star Wars character in her younger years. And I've told the story on this channel back when I did the test. You guys saw it, a daily Star Wars unboxing every single day in 2021. Some of you guys were there for it. I unboxed a few Mon Mothmas in my time. And when I was a kid, I always thought Mon Mothma was a dude. I don't know, but I guess she's all female these days. But she is coming to the Black Series as well. And then Axe Wolves from The Mandalorian. I'm excited about that one. Build out that Mandalorian shelf with Axe Wolves, so I'm happy to see that. Then they did announce something I perked up for because it's the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. That was the first Star Wars movie I think came out when I was like 3 years old, 4 years old, something like that. So I was very excited to get more Star Wars Return of the Jedi figures because that was my favorite movie as a kid as far as Star Wars go. So very happy and my ears perked up. I said, okay, what are we going to get? We're going to get some deep cuts. We're going to get some of these guys. Well, they started off with the Scout Trooper on retro card back, and I'm like, okay, we've had a Scout Trooper. We've had it many a times. I guess I don't need this. I'll save some money. I don't have any need for this. Then they came in hot next. They said, let's give us the Lando Skiff Guard, which is currently on the pegs right now in the Archive collection packaging. So I don't know what they're trying to do. There's a quadruple Lando that's coming to store pegs soon with that, with the more modern day, the Donald Glover is that his name. That one is coming to the vintage collection. That should be on the pegs very shortly. We're going to have 4 different Lando Calrissians in some of your stores. Well, now, can that hold over to spring? Can we see 5 different Lando Calrissians on the store pegs in 2023? That is a remote possibility. That very well could happen in one of the slower stores out there, especially with this one. The Lando Skiff Guard, we've already had it in the past. We have it right now in spades. Now we're going to get another one in different package. What are we doing, Hasbro? I love Lando Calrissian. I love him. He's a favorite of mine. Billy D. Williams, man, he is smooth like butter. I'm all in on him. But, man, what are we doing? Do we need this many? I don't understand the thought process here. Is Lando really rolling in the cash on this? Did he work out some kind of deal? Because Lando Calrissian is overload. It is unbelievable. But good for you, Lando, getting your name out there, your face out there at all times. Just absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. And then the hits continued with Kyle saying, hey, I got to pass on Lando. I got to pass on the Scout Trooper. And then they announced Han and Leia in the retro card from the old PulseCon exclusive from 2 years ago. So I said, guess what? I already have both of those as well. I can pass on these. So I'm just saving my wallet. I'm saving my money. I'm putting it towards more Joes, putting it towards stuff like that. I don't need the Leia. I don't need Han. And I was just scratching my head. I said, man, they just don't want Kyle's money. They don't want my money. Kyle, your money is no good here over at Hasbro Pulse today. We don't need it. But then they came. They came in hot with the Star Wars team. They came in with my most wanted Star Wars, not even a deep cut, but Star Wars figure They brought me Wicket into the 40th anniversary. Man, I got Wicket. I got my boy Tebow, Poplo. I'm going to have all of these Ewoks here. And shame on you, Hasbro Pulse panel over there. You didn't even know what Ewoks you've released. I can't believe that. I can't believe it. But Wicket is coming to the line. Man, this is a glorious day. I'm all in on Wicket. I might even buy 2 of those Wickets. He is my favorite Ewok after all. I could relate to him as a small little boy. Of course, a hairy bipedal creature. Sign me up all day long, especially a little one. Very cool. So they redeemed themselves there, but I saved a lot of money on that panel as of right now. The Andor figures, I do think will go to clearance. They will go to sales. If I do enjoy the show, hopefully I watch it soon, I will pick up some of those in the future. But besides that, really is what it is. But they did say, okay, it's time for some pipeline reveals, which are always fun, and here's what's coming in the pipeline. We're getting Luke in the Return of the Jedi. Is this that abandoned Rancor HasLab Luke that we're getting on traditional carding now? I would have to bet that is the case. We're also getting Darth Vader once again. At least this one has a supposed removable mask. We're going to be able to see when he turned back to the Jedi side, I guess, is what that'll be. So happy to see that. R2-D2, a lot of people have been screaming for years, we need a new mold for R2. Sounds like we're finally getting that next year as well. And then the Imperial Guard is coming back. One of my favorite troop builders in the Star Wars galaxy. I might pick up one of those. We'll see how different it is, if at all. We'll see what happens with that. And then they announced Cad Bane, a Tusken Chief, and a Pike Trooper. So from the book of Boba Fett, of course, for some Black Series figures. So, you know, Cad Bane is pretty well-respected, well-liked in the Star Wars community as far as bounty hunters go, so I think he will move pretty good. Pike Trooper, Army Building, Tusken Chief. I'm all in on Tusken Raider, so I'll probably pick some of those guys up as well along the way. So an interesting day 2 of Hasbro PulseCon. I don't know. Some good, some bad, and some ugly. That's how I'm going to say. But of course, you know Serpentor. That's the one I forgot. I didn't even mention Serpentor. Serpentor was the winner of the day for me. He is up on PulseCon. Hopefully he doesn't sell out, but if he does, I guess. But Serpentor, one I forgot to mention, the G.I. Joe there. Of course, the Cobra Emperor. Very, very cool. I love the attention to details. I was about ready to say, where is the spear that he got Duke with? And then they put it in there. They said it right as I was thinking it. So I'm all in on that one. I can't believe I forgot that one. That was the one I was the most excited about on the G.I. Joe panel. But some interesting stuff to come. That is for sure. I am excited. I cannot wait. I'm in on all the G.I. Joe stuff. I'm going to dabble on the Star Wars stuff, and we'll see how Indiana Jones pans out. Maybe over the holiday break, if I get some time off from work, maybe I'll watch Indiana Jones. We'll see. Maybe I will do that. So there it is. Like I said, that's Hasbro PulseCon Day 2. Hopefully you enjoyed Day 1, Day 2. Let me know in the comments what you ended up picking up from both of those days. Now let's finish off this video. And this is a long one. Hopefully you packed a lunch. We got some weekly purchases. Some stuff fresh off the truck from Target. What did we get here? We got Legends Series 16. Oh boy, R.E.Y. Rey Mysterio returns to the line. It is truly the year of Rey Mysterio. Nobody's got more figures this year than Rey Mysterio. I would say in any toy line out there. So we got Rey. We got 2 Molly Hollies. I did order 2. Unfortunately, I did not get the Chase. The hunt continues for the Chase Molly Holly. Hopefully sooner than later. And then we got Farouk. We got Bradshaw. We got the Acolytes. Absolutely love this idea. You guys know I love a good tag team. Getting those tag team members together. I'm all in on that. That is a cool day at the office. And then I got a Macho Man. I forgot to cancel my pre-order, so I got another Macho Man, but I was thinking about getting another loose one so I could display both versions of him. So I will probably end up keeping this one, opening it up, and having 2 of these loose in my collection. So Macho Man from Target as well. And then the hits keep on coming. Sammy Guevara, the Target exclusive Sammy Guevara. So a lot of people are probably getting this one today, but this one came through the door via Target as well. And then I forgot all about this one. I think I pre-ordered this about 14 months ago. Boba Fett from the Droids edition. Very cool packaging on this Target figure with the Velcro. Very NECA-esque. Man, I'm all in on that one. So that looks pretty good. The Adventures of R2, D2, and C-3PO continue once again. So I got that one. And then finally, a little Marvel Legends. Another one I'm pretty excited about is the Bombastic Bagman. So we got Bagman on the retro card. Once again, a Target exclusive. Very, very cool. Got the Kick Me sign and all this. I'll get these unboxed probably tomorrow, up early on Patreon. You'll probably see all these on Patreon tomorrow. Who knows on traditional YouTube? I got so many videos in the can on Patreon. So many I need to edit still. There's just a lot going on. A lot of product coming our way here the last couple of weeks. I do expect November to be a little bit of a downturn and maybe another little rise in December. But boy, there's a lot of stuff coming at us. Brace your wallets. That's all I can really say at this point. But some weekly purchases here to close out a crazy week of weekly purchases. 2 videos this week and a long one right here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed everything. Let me know in the comments what you ended up picking up from the Hasbro PulseCon. And heck, what did you pick up this week out at retail? Let me know down there. And don't forget to like this video. It always helps the channel when you give it the old thumbs up. Also helps the channel when you subscribe and hit the old notification bell so you do not miss a video. You don't want to miss any of these unboxings to come here on the channel very, very soon. So make sure you hit the old notification bell. Don't forget about Patreon, link in the description below where you can get early videos, early access, all that fun stuff over on the Patreon channel. And then, of course, it does support the channel, but you also get exclusive content, bonus content, monthly giveaways, a lot doing over there. And then ProWrestlingTees.com. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. And then don't forget to follow along on social media, SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. So for a busy weekend of Hasbro PulseCon, I'm Kyle, and I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way to the pizza restaurant. And I'll see you guys all real soon.